Hello and welcome to the first episode of Shamrock Foods Kitchen Conversations, where we'll talk to Shamrock partners just like you about how they approach the hospitality business, stay on top of trends, and manage a successful business. I'm your host, Jeff Piven, Business Solutions Consultant with Shamrock Foods, and today's special guest is John Haas, co-founder, company chef, and president of Matuchis restaurants in New Mexico. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today because he has a great philosophy when it comes to the importance of culture and bringing the spirit of service to his guests. John has spent 24 years in full service restaurants with 16 years as an executive chef. He believes strongly in practical and efficient operations and innovation. And as a result, he and his operating partners have grown Matuchis in 7 years from 3 people to a 250 person team and 3 New Mexico locations. He believes that businesses that won't change won't last. That has proven to be especially true in 2020. We invite you to participate in the conversation by commenting below. Any comments we're unable to respond to, we will happily answer those immediately after the broadcast. So with that, let's get John in here. Let's get started. Good afternoon, John. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you today?
I'm awesome. Cool. We might have a bit of a delay. We have a bit of a distance between us, but that's okay. So real quick, we've already gone through your bio. Tell me a little bit about how you got into the restaurant business, but more importantly, why you got into the restaurant business.
Yeah, well, it kind of, I stumbled across it, I guess. The best way to say it is I had a family connection that was friends with an owner of a sports bar in Ames, Iowa, where I grew up, and it was just off the Iowa State campus, and it was named Wallabies, and it was a great place to get started. But really, I was a high school kid. I was 15, and there was you're working in an environment with a bunch of college kids and college servers, and it's a pretty fun environment for high school kids. So I kind of, that was alluring at that age. It was a crazy environment. It fit my energy, pretty well. So that's where I got my start. I would say the first real introduction to serious food was when I moved to Iowa City after high school, and was going to school up there, and I got into a place called Atlas World Grill that was the former sous chef of Commander's Palace in New Orleans opened. And
Okay.
he was very, very trained, very classically trained, and he was also really innovative. And I just really got caught up in his imagination and creativity. And I would say that's where things started to really build momentum for me in my career.
Well, that's great. I can really appreciate kind of that wanting to belong to the tribe. And I think that that's a really
Hmm.
important message for restaurants everywhere to celebrate when they're trying to hire new talent, is not just what the employee could do for our brand, right? But what the brand could do for our employee and inviting us to the tribe. And that's how I got into the business too. I met my wife working at a bar. So um, you're in good company. So tell us about Matucci's, the brand, and how it got its start.
Yeah, certainly. So it was just over 7 years ago, actually. July 21st of 13 is when we opened our first location, and it had been in the works for about a year. A couple that really had the idea of starting a restaurant here, Jeff Spiegel, Katie Gardner, moved here from New York City, and they had retired and moved to New Mexico from the restaurant industry in New York. They had, I think, 12 restaurants throughout New York City and the
Wow,
area.
that's a big change of pace.
And it was. So, they came here to I guess, retire, but that didn't last very long. They got Jeff got a little bored, I think. He stays pretty busy, his mind and his body. So they were looking for a chef, a chef partner to open up a restaurant with. And we went through, a pretty several month interview process. And we decided that we'd give it a go. And, I think Jeff said the hook on me was always that when he asked me if I wasn't a chef, what I'd be doing, and I said I might be an accountant, and I think that's when he fell in love. So um,
Man,
it worked
that's a
from
rare
there.
combination, right? The creative chef
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
accountant. And I can appreciate, being in the restaurant business, we're always moving, we're always staying busy.
Hmm.
Um, so let's shift to more recent events. Um, Tell us a little bit about how you've shifted strategies or adjusted your business model in just the past few months.
Yeah, so it's I mean the whole world changed all of a sudden, right? And our industry more so than the world even probably. So we really went into a survival mode instantly. I mean I mean we were a full service restaurant on a Monday, and on a Tuesday, we were a to go business, and I mean we had
Yeah.
uh, we have 3 locations across the company. And we've always kind of prided ourselves on being, like the pillars of our company have been chef-driven food, very thoughtful service and exceptional value. And you're taking a lot of those pieces out when you go to a to-go concept immediately, So we had to really kind of streamline that, and figure out, all right, we have 3 locations. How do we make them all efficient? How do we make them all profitable? And we had just opened a new location 3 weeks before dining rooms got shut down here.
Oh, wow.
Um, and it was a big, yeah, it was a big one. It was 10,000 square feet too. It was our biggest project
Oh,
by
wow.
far. I mean, it literally doubled our size overnight, and 3 weeks later, it's like gone, like, so, we shifted quick, or pivoted, is the word that everyone says. So,
Yeah.
we immediately we went to survival. We're like, all right, we're doing to-go food. We have to go to just salaried people in the building. We had to furlough over 200 people, almost overnight.
Yeah.
Um, and that was pretty brutal. I mean, that's a feeling you never forget in your life. But we did, luckily we were able to give them some support, help the people get signed up for unemployment. We held some classes to help them see how to get signed up and make sure they were taken care of. And we also provided meals for all of our furloughed employees during the time of
Man, that's
furlough.
awesome.
Um, so yeah, it was a lot of meals, but it was the least we thought we could do. So it started out survival, and then I think as we kind of found our feet, we realized what the floor was, and we started to build off it. I think in my mind, we kind of shifted to like more of a survival mode. It's like how do we not just get through this, but how do we grow, expand, get better, and learn how to thrive in being handcuffed at the same time.
Wow. That's such a cool way of thinking of things, not just you went from survival to revival. I think that's like an amazing
Yeah.
quote for anyone that's watching this. And just the way that not only helped your employees get on unemployment, but fed them, cared about them, and understood them as the most important asset to your brand. And I think that speaks volumes to your success. Um, is that how you're going to be
Mhm.
stronger coming out of this? Like, what's going to kind of stay the same?
Yeah, so I think there are a few things. The first one is probably during that time, our everyone was doing a different job all of a sudden, right? You got managers that are working as hostesses. You got chefs that are working as cooks and dishwashers, and we had no hourly staff, so we were all the hourly staff, and that was it, and so that changed a lot really quickly, and I think we saw the job in a different each job that everyone was doing, we saw it in a very different light. I mean, we really saw our whole business in a different light because we're seeing it in these different situations that we've never seen it before. We're seeing it in to go only, then we're seeing it in 50% dine in, and then it was only outdoor dining, and then we're seeing it in 25% indoor dining. So
Right.
these are all models you would never put your business through in general, right? And here we are, we're seeing all of these different business models play out in months. So I think there are a lot of ways that you could see your business differently than you ever would have, and you learn more about it whenever you do that. Um, so that, and then also the other one was just the really building inside the 4 walls. A strong focus on what's happening inside the walls, and also on how we improve them. And to me, I felt like the whole world stopped in like 1 week. And I didn't feel like
Right.
that meant we stopped. That just meant everyone else did. And if you want to me really to really get ahead at anything, You have to be willing to go when other people are stopping, and that's that. It was a crazy time, but there's opportunity in all of that, and you just got to find it. I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that saying that, in every difficulty there is opportunity. And I think this stuff just makes us stronger. And like we were just talking about in the broadcast kind of pregame, was, it's like training at altitude. When you've done it and it's been this hard and you come out of it, you're stronger, better, faster, more efficient. All of these things are only going to help us in the future. Um, is there like maybe one core piece of advice that you would give to our viewers right now that may still be struggling to try and help them succeed or try and help them see the light?
I think for me, a lot of it, I mean, there's probably a couple of things, but I'd say the big one is really that, all we can really focus on is what we can control. I mean, there's so many
Right.
things going on in the world, and so many, distractions throughout the world right now that I think we just have to focus on what we can control. And that's, in our industry, in our business, inside our four walls, that's the food and the people. And outside of that, there's not a whole lot we can do, right? So, it's being diligent on the food, making sure everything is right. It's paying attention to the people, the attitude of the people, the labor dollars, and I think if you really just spend all your time and energy on that, things have a way of going in the right direction. And I think also our industry changed overnight. So we had to also, we all did, and
Right.
people understand that. So sometimes you have to change a little bit. You got to take stuff off your menu. And I think people understand that that's part of this, and they get that not everything is available right now. And if you try to offer everything you did before, you probably are going to be very stretched, and you're going to run some tough labor and some tough food costs because you're not selling as much, and it's hard to keep low moving items around when you're not selling, no matter how much you love them.
Right. Right. I mean, and if there's anything that we can learn from your menu, and I've taken a look at pre and post kind of COVID, if there is such a thing as post COVID, is that you slimmed it down and you've really dovetailed everything so that you get efficiency, you're getting velocity, and you're keeping prep quality high while keeping hours to a minimum. I thought it was really, really thoughtful. And we talked about in
Thank you.
our pregame again. Was that having different menus across multiple units created inefficiencies that you really didn't notice while we were going full speed ahead. And then when the world changed, it was like, well, we get a lot of efficiency across the board when we're able to kind of
Hmm.
streamline and then offer maybe perhaps LTOs in different neighborhoods, limited time offers in different neighborhoods, or specials to kind of
Yep.
give that point of difference, but at the same time creating efficiencies.
Hmm.
And even so you could take cooks from different restaurants or servers from different restaurants and pool your resource. It's really, really sharp. So real quick, I just want to mention, if you're just
Absolutely.
joining us, welcome to the broadcast. I'm here with John Haas of Matuchis Restaurant in New Mexico. And we're talking about the importance of being heads up, being clear about your purpose and your why at the core of your business, and how culture has carried John and his partners through all of this, and they're going to come out stronger on the other side. So if you've got some questions, please comment down into the bottom. I see that we've got a question from Marty. Marty says, did you do any additional marketing during COVID? And I don't know if he means additional as
Uh,
in volume or in different, phrasing. But can you talk to us a bit about the marketing as you went through all
yep.
this?
Well, yeah, absolutely. We made one huge change, and that was we got really aggressive on social media. It occurred, I mean, right when this was all happening, it was obvious that when everything was getting canceled in the world, and people weren't going to work. Everyone was at home, and it was like, well, there are only, I mean, two ways to reach people. It's through TV and social media, right? And everyone's going to be on their phones. Everyone's going to be looking
Right.
for something that's happening in this world. So we got very, very aggressive on social media. We're fortunate to have a great social media manager, Michael Lewis, and he
Oh, cool.
and
That's
also
in
very
house
fortunate
for
that he
you.
used to be a Yeah, that's in-house. And
Okay.
he also used to be a National Geographic photographer. So it's like the perfect marriage, right? It worked out fantastic. And he just started with us about a year ago. And he was, I mean, he was pivotal to us getting the content out and the message out of everything that was happening and what we were doing and the story of what's happening behind the scenes and how we're changing it. And I think that was that was hugely essential. So that was probably the biggest thing.
Wow, that's great. And marketing is one of those, kind of intangibles where you don't get a direct ROI all the time. It's kind of difficult to trace. So,
Mm-hmm.
one of my best practices from my past was to identify a certain percentage of sales that I was going to dedicate to marketing, be it 1% or 2% or 3% of gross, and just dedicate that to marketing and spend every penny of it, because we know marketing works. Everybody
Yep.
knows what the Subway brand looks like and all the Chick-fil-A commercials and all of that stuff. So we know marketing works, but when we're at the ground level, it's really hard to spend five, six, seven, $1,000 a month and not immediately see the seats
Mm-hmm.
fuller. Sometimes it's a longer trajectory strategy. So, I mean, kudos, you guys were poised for
Yep.
this to happen. It was almost like you were set up for this to happen, and we just got the curveball to enact it. So let's talk a little bit about
And
food, because I
yeah.
think that's what we're all really interested
Okay.
in, even though I am a restaurant numbers nerd.
Yeah.
Um, what trends are
Yeah.
you into now? What do you see coming? Like, we've seen, Brussels sprouts
Yeah.
come and go. We've seen different
Mm-hmm.
vegetables and cheeses and all these
Mm-hmm.
different things come and go. What are you seeing right now? What's next?
Yep. So I'll tell you, I hate to be kind of boring here because I'm not a huge trend person, less than most probably. I've always kind of gone by the whole theory, trends come and go, but classics remain, right?
Yeah.
Um, so while we do, we'll do spin-offs and we'll do, some incorporate some trend stuff into what we're doing. I would say I've been focusing more on the trend side of the purchasing and supply than I have been on the actual ingredient lately. Like for me, it's, I think we saw a lot of fluctuations in supply chain during this time. We saw the
Right.
strengths and the weaknesses of it,
Right.
and I think it, and I don't mean that in the vendor situation, but the farmers,
No.
like, and that's, um, it, we in the meat processing and everything. So, for me, I've been working a lot on creating on direct sourcing, with some stuff, and also creating some proprietary products. Because again, you can't control every restaurant that opens in your market and how, if they're better at you at some things or not, but if you can create an experience that no one else can create,
Right. Right.
through proprietary products. Like there's a pork line that we're working on direct with the farmer, and also our own wine program directly with a winemaker.
Oh, that's
You
fantastic.
know, and and if we can't, you can't control everything, but what we can do is create something that no one else has, and I think that that gives you some separation in the rest of the restaurants.
I'll agree 100% with that. And basically, it's super smart to not compete in the same value proposition as all of your competition, where it's like, okay,
Hmm.
we do that too, and we do that too, and we do that too. Create a value proposition like your point of difference in your pork or your wine, where your competitors can't get near that stuff because it's yours. You've made it your own. It's your point of difference, and that's from, to quote a famous book, that is the blue ocean strategy versus the red ocean strategy. Blue ocean
Hmm.
strategy will be in the notes after the call. It's I kind of dork out on books,
Yeah. Okay.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
cynic. The starts with Y. But blue ocean is
Yeah.
creating a value
And
proposition that your competitors can never emulate, and that allows you to access customers in a whole different way and provide an experience that can't be touched by your competitors. Again, it's smart. Um,
ab
so how can
Absolutely.
you
That's
how do you
actually, or
I'm sorry, I thought we had a bad connection for a second. How do you balance keeping things current
no,
and
you're fine.
fresh? Like, so you've got all these new programs, but also efficient with the staff,
Hmm.
because you've got great ideas, but then can you take us through how you train them, how you track your inventory, and keep costs in line? Because I know there's a lot of chefs that can create a lot of great things, but they don't make sense financially. And I know you've got that balance of accounting. So can you tap into that for me?
Yeah, certainly. So, as far as the how we balance current and fresh, like I would say one thing that was different, but also, was fresh was we worked on, during no dining rooms, we did some meal kits, like, meal prep kits.
Oh yeah,
Um, and we put one of our chef partners, Corey Gray was actually the one that oversaw it. And you'd get this box with like recipes. There'd be a QR code that would have a video you'd scan it to go to a video of him making it and talking you through it. You'd get all
that's
the
really
ingredients,
cool.
So that was an example of something that was kind of like fresh and different.
Yeah,
But as far as, the cost and inventory side, yeah, I think you kind of hit on it earlier. It's streamlining, consolidating, cross-utilizing, all those things, and tracking. You're doing inventory every week. We produce weekly P&Ls for all of our restaurants. We're fortunate to have a phenomenal CFO, that she keeps all that stuff in line, and keeps, us chefs in line,
that
because
gets
we're
me
not always
so
the best at
excited. I'm
that.
like, oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so we every week we're seeing our money move, and you have to. I mean, this is such a fragile industry, in the sense that your product can expire in days. You can invest time, money, everything into these products, and you can lose them if you don't really keep track of them. So that is a big piece. I will say, on the training side, I've never, it's part of our culture. It's who we are. We do it, but it's not a cost I really think of as a cost. It's kind of just the cost of doing business to me.
Right,
It's
and
not like, well, we're
investment.
only going to spend $200 on training. It's almost like it's like comps. If you have an unhappy guest, you have to buy that. Like, you have to fix it. It's going to cost you more not to. And I think training's the same way.
Yeah,
You don't ever question the cost of training, as long as it's efficient.
right.
Now, if you're retaining, like, one out of every 20 employees, maybe you need to reassess your training program. But it costs, you got to spend the money on the training.
Yeah. Well, you brought up kind of one super forward-looking subject, which was you did a QR code and it took your customer to a video on how to make a dish. Like, that's an interesting thought on,
Hmm.
could we create that same sort of platform for our new employees, where they could go through a series of
Hmm.
videos, and it's proprietary, so you're not, sharing it with the world, but you can take them through some of the basics
Hmm.
of kitchen setup, mise en place, prep and labeling and all these different things. So you're not having the trainer say the same message over and over and over, and your trainer costs you how much and your trainee costs you how much. It's really, really sharp. Um,
Hmm.
Kind of the final piece I really
Thank you.
wanted to hit on with you, because I think this is one of your big points of pride, which is, in the opening, I had asked you about your company's philosophy on culture amongst the staff. Can you kind of unpack what culture means to you for the audience, and how that's been an asset for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, culture it's a hard thing to create. It takes a lot of time. That was something that Jeff and I have talked a lot about, that doesn't happen overnight. It almost, you have to put it into it, and then you have to keep, like, breeding it. You just can't, it doesn't just stay there forever. Like, you have to keep recreating it.
Right.
And so one of our big things has always been, we look at people over resumes. Like, we want personalities, we want character. We want them to fit into the program
Yeah.
more than we just want the very best resume that comes across our desk.
Right.
Um, because they have to fit with, our program. And I think if you look at a sports team, the Patriots were the ones that really made that famous. They could plug almost any guy into that system, and they excelled. And it's because they fit the system. They weren't trying to put, a square peg into a round hole. And I think, that's the thing, that you have to know, who excels in your company, why they excel. Maybe there's certain industries that translate really well into different jobs in our industry, and
Right.
connecting those dots. So when you
Right.
see, maybe you see someone that comes out of I think one thing you see a lot is retail people that come out of the retail clothing sector tend to be really on the sales side, tend to be really good in the host station. It's been tried and true over and over and over. It seems to parallel. So I think knowing that, working with that, and making sure that you kind of hire around that, that's a big one. Training and orientation. We do a 2 to 3 week training orientation, including for servers,
Wow.
a video that shows steps of service.
Right.
And then probably the last thing is just rewarding patience. I mean, we have 30 plus salaried people in our company, and only 3 of them started as a salaried person. And every one of them has been with us over 2 years, or all but one, I think, has been with us over 2 years. So it's, creating that culture, bringing them up in that culture, and giving them opportunity when they succeed in it, and I think
Right.
that's the connection.
Right. Well, and the culture, like you said, it's not just you set it up and then it keeps running. Like there's a maintenance piece to your culture, and it's important to point out to our viewers that culture flows downward. And from time to time, I'll meet with customers, our customers, and they say, I can't get my employees to do this or that, or I can't get them to care. It's true to a point, but culture will flow downward. So, it's great you set the example in your restaurants, not only from a creative standpoint, but from a positivity and energy standpoint, and also counting pennies along the way. So it's like you're covering the whole swath
Mm-hmm.
of what we need right now. And I really appreciate your leadership. So I'm just going to close this out. It looks like we've got about 3 minutes left. Thank you again, folks out there, for joining Shamrock Foods Kitchen Conversations. A special thank you to John Haas from Matuchis in New Mexico
Thank you.
for joining. Thank you so much again. Folks, we hope you enjoyed the show. Keep the comments coming. I got one question about marketing from Marty out there. I don't know if anybody else has anything they want to throw at John here in the final couple minutes.
They're
So
letting me off easy, huh?
I'm letting you, yeah, I guess. We thought for sure that they were going to
Yeah.
start asking you about, some recipes, or, tell us the secret to your bread recipe. I thought for sure somebody was going to ask you
Yeah.
that, but, I don't know. Maybe it's the
200-year-old starter.
right. So yeah, why wouldn't you ask for
That's the
a
trick.
little nibbit of that and go home and make your own? I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, yeah.
good points today about how our listeners or viewers today can work on their culture. Hopefully some positive energy out into the world, keeping your head up and knowing that we're coming to a better place. Stay tuned. September 24th, which is a couple weeks from today, I'm going to be doing kitchen conversations with John Lane from Oso Brewery here in Arizona. We're going to be talking about some different items. Stay tuned for that. It's going to be good. John, with that, I think we're going to let you off the hook. Have yourself a
Well,
great
thank you
week.
so much. I appreciate you having me.
It was a
Hey, you as
blast.
well.
Thanks again. Take care.
It was.
Bye, guys.